All right, it looks like it's recording. Then let's share my slides. Hope everyone can see them. Please feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'll be taking a look periodically, but Abhinav is also going to be taking a look at them and maybe fielding them. And then at the very end, I will just say them out loud for the recording so that the other teams don't miss them in the chat. So welcome to the Final Approach webinar. For those of you who might not still be aware, my name is Weakley. I am the SC25 Student Cluster Competition Chair, and we're also joined by Abhinav Tota, who is the SC25 SCC Vice Chair. Today I wanted to cover a few items before you you attend the competition. So what are we covering today? So we're going to cover mostly what you should expect once you get to St. Louis, what to know before you go, what to know when you get to St. Louis, like how are we going to see each other, and what are those next steps going to look like. We'll do a quick competition schedule and review and talk about the fun stuff you guys should look forward to at the competition, or the conference rather. And then finally, I want to give a lot of time for Q&A for some questions you might have. If you have questions about the applications themselves or tasks there or benchmarks, please direct those to either the Google group or the GitHub repositories or the issues there, and we'll mainly focus on the competition logistics otherwise. All right, so far so good. Then what should you know before you go? One, I think for people who are going to be traveling from afar to the conference, please know that if you aren't already aware, there have been government shutdowns in the United States of America, and this might impact your travel. So please be mindful of your schedules, your travel schedules, and if this is your first time traveling, by yourselves, please make sure that you plan ahead of time. Please reach out to your liaisons for changes in your travel plans that you might note so that we know when to expect you, so that we can have people around to brief you on the security briefing and to get you to the booth. More about that later. Make sure that you've also shared your shipping information with them so that when you get to the conference center, if there's anything that seems missing, your crate doesn't show up, we have some record of them and we can help to track them down. And then finally, if you're not yet in the GitHub repositories or the Google group, please make sure you're getting in there now. Reach out to your liaisons and ask them to add you. One thing that I see is missing here is you might have also received a message from the students at SC Chair, Scott Michael, with an invitation to the students at SC Slack space. Please do so. There is an SCC channel that you can join. I'll be posting things there, but we'll be mostly using it for announcements, getting to know each other during the competition. Again, for questions about the applications, please direct them to the GitHub issues. And then for questions about competition logistics and benchmarks, please direct them to the Google group. So what happens when you get to St. Louis? Teams traveling internationally to St. Louis will be arriving on Friday, and I do know that there's also possibly one domestic team, the team traveling domestically, that will be arriving on Friday. If this is your first time visiting the USA, first, welcome. And second, all the things I said earlier about the government shutdowns apply, but also I took a look at the possible routes you might be taking to get here, which means that you might take a connecting flight. Please know that you will have to take your luggage out check it back in and go through security. It's something that's a little bit confusing if you're first time traveling to the United States that I just wanted to raise ahead of time. Teams traveling domestically will arrive on Saturday, and that will also be the first day that we will be seeing each other. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next slide. All teams and advisors will be staying at the Arch Convention Hotel. This was previously known as the Holiday Inn Convention Hotel. It is right next to the convention center, and it will have a door. Its entrance will open. It will be right across from a door to the exhibit halls that will let you in for the overnight times on Monday and Tuesday, and you can get back and forth from the hotel within a couple of minutes. When you get to the hotel, you should not need a credit card to check into the hotel. You all should be pre-checked into the hotels, and you should be prevented from having charging any incidentals. If incidentals do come up, you will be responsible for those incidentals, and you'll need a credit card to cover them. But you should be pre-checked. Nobody should be asking you for a credit card. You should just be giving them your name and identification, and that should be it. If you run into any of those issues checking in, please send me a Slack message, raise it right away to me, put it in the Google group, and I will help get it fixed. But just let them know you're part of this competition. You should be pre-checked, and then give them your name. So when you get to St. Louis, what does that first time that we meet each other look like, right? So for teams traveling internationally to the conference, you'll have the Friday to rest and recover from your long travels. Teams traveling domestically who are arriving on Saturday, you will check in or go to this convention center right away. So we'll first meet on Saturday at the safety briefing, and this will take place from 2 to 3 p.m. Central Time in room 274 in the St. Louis Convention Center. This is a mandatory event. You will need to be briefed at the safety briefing, the security briefing, before you are allowed to the exhibit floor. You will also be given wristbands. And these wristbands will let you have 24-hour access to the exhibit floor as well. We will talk more about that during the safety briefing. Again, each team member will need to be briefed before they get there. So if you have a team member that you know is arriving later, please let your liaison know, and we'll try to get them briefed separately. From there, we'll walk to the SCC booth, which is booth 128, also known as your new home during the conference. You can take a look at the map on the conference site. You should be able to see a map of the exhibit hall and see where the booth is. After that, once we're in the booth, I believe your crates should be there, and you should be able to start building. However, a little bit after that, we will have a mandatory students at SC orientation. So this will be, again, held in the same room at a later time as the security briefing. It'll happen at a later time, and it'll be given by the students at SC chair. Following that, we will have a fun kickoff reception, which will be at the City Museum. So, those knee pads are going to come in handy in more than just building your clusters. They will come in handy in tackling the City Museum as well. So what does the competition schedule look like after we meet each other on Saturday? So I've posted a schedule already on the Google groups, in the Google group, but let's take a speed tour. Following Saturday, teams can continue to build their clusters on Sunday. However, one of the events that you should look out for are the SCC pictures. Again, mandatory. Please wear your vests. We'll be handing them out to each team member, and please wear them for the team photos and the whole competition photos. So you'll continue to build after Sunday, and then on Monday, this is where the rubber meets the road, and it'll be weigh-in time. We'll benchmark your clusters and see what you've got. And that'll take place for all of Monday. Again, this year we will not have the benchmark interviews. It'll just be benchmarks there. Please note that your committee members will need, or your liaisons will need to certify your hardware. Sorry about that. Just to meet someone. So just make sure that you have 2 people in the booth and keep running those benchmarks. Once the benchmarking period ends, we will go have the dinner and clean up our booths to prepare for the gala and the kickoff. The kickoff will take place at around 7 p.m. The general chair will drop by the SCC and the Indie SCC booths, and we'll kick off the competition, and we will reveal the mystery app at that time. At that point, the competition starts for real, and you guys will start running the scientific applications on your machines. So Tuesday, the competition continues. Wednesday, you'll have app interviews, and the competition will end at 5 p.m. at the same time that India CC ends. So after that, you guys will have some fun. The committee will grade and score your work, and we will see each other for breakfast on Thursday. This breakfast will we'll have our mandatory stand up at that time instead. And we will continue to clean up our cluster space and our booth space at that point until the awards lunch and ceremony. So we'll go to the awards lunch, and then from there we'll go directly to the awards ceremony, and everyone will find out who the overall winner of the SCC and the overall winner of the Indie SCC are. Then we'll go back to the booth, continue to pack up until we have our wrap up, and you can all give me your spicy takes on the competition and what we can do better for following years. Then we'll go back, finish up our tear down, and we'll have to finish up by early evening so that you guys have enough time to go to the tech program reception. Then after that, the competition ends, everybody goes home and checks out on Friday. So let's give a quick overview of the competition. Things to know before you get there, and these questions have been coming up in the Google groups and in the GitHub repositories. There will be a student cluster competition committee file server, and from this file server, we will provide the data sets that you will need for the competition tasks there. We will also set up directories in that file server for teams to submit your work. We will give you information for how to access those file servers as we get closer to the competition and as we sort out moving more of the data sets to the file servers currently. As far as power monitoring is concerned, we will still have the sirens that will go off when you go over the power limit, and we'll also have the Grafana dashboard that will be in the admin booth facing the team booths for people to see where you are and which team is going over the power limit. If you need help or have questions during the competition or have some general safety concerns, there will be committee members available at the booth, and security will also be available there. More to come, more to explain there. But we'll have the doorbell in place, and you guys can ring the doorbell if you have any questions or major concerns. So if you haven't already, now's the time to review the rules and make sure you know what's happening and what applications we're going to be running. Let's talk quickly about penalties so you know what you can be docked for. Obviously, going over the power limit, the penalties for the power limit this year are going to be a percentage of the time, a fraction of the time, the total time that you are over the power limit. So, and that's the idea there being that if you do go over for a little bit and manage to recover in time, it won't be such a huge burden on the penalties. Noise exposure limits, again, we're going to make sure we will reserve the right to dock points from you guys if there's some flagrant infringement of noise levels that are compliant with work practices and labor laws. Not attending mandatory events. So each of the events that are labeled mandatory, for example, having somebody at the stand-up every day, one per team, not going to any of the mandatory social events will also result in some small penalties, and booths not being staffed with at least two members team members at each time, and having advisor external help, of course. So just kids, I suppose. Finally, there's also actions meriting disqualification or even being booted from the conference. So please make sure you review the code of conduct and know what that is and what the conference expects. What are the scored components of the competition? These are going to be made, your total score will be made up of the posters, the benchmarks, and each of the apps. The benchmarks in each of the applications, ECE, SST, the reproducibility challenge, and the mystery application will be the same amount. So it will be 10% for posters, and for each of the other major components, they'll be all the same, which is 18%. Once the competition kicks off on Monday, you will have that 24-access door that I spoke about. This will be a special door that will have a security in place for the SCC teams to be able to go back and forth to the hotel, to the Arch Convention Center Hotel quite quickly. Again, I was there. I saw the door, and it's literally 3 minutes maybe from that door to the Holiday Inn door. So really convenient and pretty safe at night. So that 24-access door will be available Monday night and Tuesday night. But again, you should have access to the exhibit floor but with your wristbands. It's just having that 24-access door, and specifically will be open only on Monday and Tuesday night. Finally, overnight snacks will be available, and they'll be like snacks throughout the day, but they're by no means a real meal. So please make sure you get outside and get a real, healthy, fulfilling meal. So we're getting to the end of my presentation. So what can you expect then from the fun stuff and the rest of the conference? I would say, plan ahead. There's going to be a lot of sessions that you might want to attend in the workshops, tutorials, and tech program sessions, right? There's also going to be a lot of stuff in the student programming you might want to attend, specifically the job fair, which takes place on Wednesday from, I believe, 10 to 3 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So look at the schedule, talk with your teammates now. Know that your booths have to have at least 2 people in it at all times. Know that you're going to have the interviews and we'll have to be running all these applications, but you can plan around that, and you should be doing that now. What else is in store for you at the conference? There's going to be the conference receptions. As I mentioned, the students at SC reception at the City Museum. I forgot to add here is the exhibitor reception. That's not a mandatory event, but you guys should be able to attend it. And that's going to be at the FanDuel Center, I believe. And then the tech program reception at the St. Louis Science Center. St. Louis has a few things that you can go see the Arch, eat some barbecue, check out the Busch Stadium ballpark. And while you're there, please, again, while you're taking a look at the floor plan and seeing where our booth is, note that the Indy SCC booth is right by us, and they will have 10 on-site teams. They'll be sharing our kitchenette with us. So chat with the other students, strategize around the applications that are common to both competitions, and just get to know each other better and learn more about everybody's end of the competition. That's all I had for you today. My presentation of things I wanted to raise before you go. I'm gonna stop sharing really quickly. I saw some questions coming in the chat.
I got a DM Limai, so I posted it in the public chat.
Okay.
But
So,
check my numbers there.
yes. So the question was, how large would the data sets be? And Abhinav answered, yeah, 1 to 2 terabyte range, combine all the applications, I would say is pretty accurate. By now, you should have seen the practice data sets and what you have to do for the climate emulator. So you should get a sense based on that of what you're seeing. And then you should also know, have experience with the MLPerf models and data sets. So that should give you a sense of the scale of what you might want to plan for. Are advisors also expected at the mandatory event? Good question. No, advisors are not expected at the mandatory events. There is one mandatory event that advisors are going to be expected to attend, which is the security briefing. I think that would be helpful for people to know. And you will also get an advisor-specific wristband. Will the first time we get our hands on the cluster be 3 p.m. Saturday, just after the safety briefings? Yes. Once we go to the booth, the crates should be moved there. Freeman should be moving the crates from wherever it is to your booths, and they should be there. Yeah, and at that point, once we go through the security briefing and you guys have identified where your booth is, and have your crates there, you can start opening them up. So will the hardware building phase last overnight on Saturday? So let's go back again on Saturday. On Saturday, after we get to the booth, you will need to go back up to the same room where we had our security briefing to go through the students at SC orientation that will be led by the students at SC chair. Right after that is the reception, which will be at the City Museum. Some committee members will be walking all of you guys. Advisors are welcome to join to the City Museum, and we'll and you guys, that is a mandatory event. Once that's done, you guys, if you want to go back to the convention center and start building, you should be able to access the floor with your wristbands. I hope that answers your question. So it's really, I mean, if it's up to you guys, I guess, how much effort you are going to put into it on Saturday. Other questions? All right. I'll give another minute for questions if people have them. Otherwise, we can wrap up soon. Okay. Well, no one has any more questions. We have sent the booth panels to print. We are going to be less than a couple weeks out before some of the committee members arrive in St. Louis and start building out the booths and get that ready for you all. We'll make sure to keep contact on the Google groups, and if there's any major announcements, please keep your eyes out for that. And otherwise, if there's no other questions, during the competition, can the advisor go to the booth or has to stay away? So advisors are not allowed to hang out at the booth like all the team members are. That this is the team should be doing the work. Advisors are allowed to be there during the build out phase, so during Saturday and Sunday. But once benchmarking happens, it's two student team members per team staffing, at least staffing the booth. If your advisor wants to drop in and say hi, make sure, of course, that you are all doing well and taking care of yourselves. They are, of course, welcome to drop in. However, they cannot at that point be advising on anything competition-wise. But to check in on you, make sure that you guys are getting what you need to be safe and healthy during the conference. That is perfectly fine. If we see advisors hanging around too much, we might reach out to the advisors. I should also note, hand in hand with that question, is only student team members should be in those booths. So you shouldn't have, if you have a vendor who wants to drop in, they should not be in your booth during the competition hours. If you have a professor who is also at the conference who wants to drop in and say hi, they are not allowed to come inside of the booth during competition hours. Yeah. Does benchmarking extend to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. on Monday? I'll have to double check what I published in the schedule, and I don't want to suddenly say what's on the schedule without having it right in front of me. But it will end before the dinner takes place, and I'll give you guys some time to clean up your booths before you guys go to dinner and be ready for the kickoff. Everyone should be at the kickoff, and that way you'll know what the mystery app is, and there's going to be quite a bit of fanfare. Okay, got it. Can the advisor buy dinner for them? Of course, yes, especially if they're not getting, substantive meals through the overnight snacks. Yes, advisors are welcome to drop in, bring some food, check in on them, and yeah. Other questions? Oh, then I'll fix that. So Gary said, according to the schedule, dinner is from 5 to 7, but benchmarking is 9:15 to 6 p.m. I will check that schedule and double check that that's fine. I'll fix what's published on the current schedule. That's my bad. Thanks, Gary. Other questions? All right, well, there are no other questions for real this time. I will make sure I fix that in the schedule. And again, that schedule is subject to change. We have some items we'll still need to update, like the app interview times, but we'll get those updated as we can. Yes, thanks to all for dropping in. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. And as again, I'll make announcements in the group as they come in and they become ready. Ooh, that is a great question. Sorry, another question came in, and I think that this is a great question that we will also cover in the safety briefing. Is it safe in the evening there? I'll talk a little bit, I'll give you guys the same spiel most likely during the security briefing, but it's got some, it can be a bit busy in that area at night. I'll say this. But in any case, when you are traveling, just be aware of your surroundings, practice the buddy system, make sure that if you are walking back and forth, especially when the 24-hour door isn't available to you, right, and you'll most probably have to go around a little bit the block to get into the Holiday Inn, um, uh, make sure that you're being safe and that you're not doing it by yourselves. But I would say that I thought it's pretty safe. Be aware of your surroundings. Again, take advantage of that 24-hour door when it's open, and practice the buddy system. Other last minute question? All right. If there are none, again, thank you all. For those who arrived a little late, I'll make sure that this is being recorded, so I'll make sure that it gets posted here pretty soon. Looking forward to seeing you all in St. Louis, getting the competition underway, and for all of the teams to meet each other as well, and not just the student cluster competition, but in the SCC as well. So looking forward to seeing you all, and take care. In the meantime, keep up the good work.